Good Friday, y'all. Good morning. Happy Friday. Taking a break while I've been cleaning all morning to just sit down for a second. I just cleaned my stove. I cleaned my toilet. I'm going to be doing my cat box next. And then I got to take a shower and shave my legs. That's my morning. Then I have a lovely date coming up. But right now, I just need to sit down because I just finished the stove. Well, I didn't finish it. I left some bleach on it, and I got to pick that up later. But anyway, TMI, right? So, um, so let's talk about uh, let's talk about the the hamster ordeal with Chantel. It is animal cruelty, Chantel. What you're doing is animal cruelty. You're keeping him in a cage that's too small for him. You're alluding that you're not. We have St. Patty's Day coming up, so I got, people trying to plan with me. Um, you were going to just let him live in the wild in your spare room, which, by the way, let's talk about the spare room for a second. Sometimes it's called the gaming room. Sometimes it's the spare room where you just keep the leftover furniture. Sometimes it's something else entirely. She's alluding to the fact that she has more than a one-bedroom apartment. Which she may have a two-bedroom. It's entirely possible. But for the space that she's talking about, she would have to have a second apartment. Period. Like, the amount of things that she's talking about happen in the spare room that is filled with leftover furniture that they haven't gotten rid of yet. There's no way they don't have a second area where they're storing things, where Howie lives half of the time, and so on and so forth. So anyway, he was in this spare room. He escaped his cage because she doesn't know how to properly lock it. And she couldn't find him, which I find unreasonable considering the very next day she's like, let's follow the trail of the stuffing, the stuff that you put at the bottom of the cage. You couldn't have done that on night one? For real? You don't own any flashlights? Like, for real? You couldn't have figured this out? She wanted Howie, whatever his name is. She can't remember half of the time. And that's why the React channels keep calling him by different names. She wanted him to just live in the wild. Right? And poop all over that room. Poop and pee all over that room as a rodent, because that's what he is. He comes from the rodent family. He clearly was unhappy with his cage and wanted to get out. So she's not keeping it clean enough. And she's also not even doing the bare basics of locking the cage. Right? She got the hamster and the cat to prove that she is an animal lover, and she has done nothing but the opposite in doing so. So anyway, let's get into Garlic Bread's recap, because I just can't even get into I can't get into all of her bullshit, and I have more cleaning I need to do this morning.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Commentary for you. So before I get into this, I just want to note that a lot of people have disproved the hamster noise I spoke about in the last video, and thankfully, it was not Howie screaming. But I would also like to offer this shows the history Chantal has with improper pet care, to the point that earlier in the day, she was refusing to get him a proper sized cage, and everyone suspected it was Howie screaming. And moreover, why on earth would Salah be playing loud noises to scare him while she flung her flipper into the cage to get him? I think it just shows that they're not responsible. They don't act rationally or reasonably around animals. And I think that's also proven by the fact that Julia the...
No, that's absolutely torturing your animal. It's torturing your animal. These two people are sociopathic, and it's absolutely disgusting how they treat their animals.
cat is still not fixed. However, her most recent video starts with a cameo, of course, then praying, reading the Quran, things that she should be doing rather than filming. We then see her soaking rice while cutting onions and tomatoes that get sauteed in olive oil with what also appears to be butter. She then adds in a tomato paste, seasoning, and rice. She cuts potatoes to line the pan, and her knife skills are just terrifying to watch. She makes the grape leaves and talks about places she would go in Canada that made them, quote, homemade. You can also really see the issues with her hands, the dexterity, the movements. Her excitement in all this is screaming so loud that Salah responds to her. Once she has them completed, we see the cat just all over them. And oddly enough, this is also prepared in the living room, family rooms, Vandelay fragrance office portion of the home. She's seated during all of this. It seems like this all maybe should have been done in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. She says she has leftovers and she's going to make them tomorrow. I guess it depends how much they eat of these today.
She doesn't want you to see the kitchen right now. It's apparently not clean, right?
She reiterates she's never made them, but she loves them. And I mean, she really drags this out. She lines the bowl. She talks about how she didn't grow up with them, but loves them. She said she broke the lid to the pot and has to use foil instead. We see as she shows them cooked, this video has 350 views in 30 minutes, which for her should be absolutely terrifying, given this is her sole form of income. If you made it less than 2 minutes and 30 seconds into this video, just put 350 in the comment section for her views. We then get to hear her labored breathing during prayer while she films outside, and her favorite thing, a full plate. She says this is breaking her fast. She says they're perfect. She loves them. She eats 3 of them, by the way, in just seconds, moaning and groaning along the way. She tells us that we must make them ourselves, even if you're a picky eater like Salah, to which he yells from across the room to interject that he isn't. We will like them. I'm going to leave you with the top comments from the last video. I appreciate you watching this one, and I will be back as soon as I can.
I thank garlic bread so much for summarizing these things, because that's been, Are You Serious? The Owl channel did a live stream this morning, or last night. I just watched it this morning, where she said, I'm not going to cover it. Not going to cover it. If this is triggering content to you, that you should just take a couple of days off and not watch it. But the way she has been treating the hamster, and saying, well, you can call the SPCA in Kuwait on me and they're not going to give a shit. It's a hamster. Of course they're not going to give a shit, because it's a tiny little animal. But I still don't see how that makes it right to torture an animal on screen while you're live streaming. And the whole arc of him escaping, and then you trapping him back in a dirty situation and blaring screeching noises at him. He's a little dude. Why would you do that to him? I don't understand. You know? I don't get it.
With more commentary.
Okay. So, the animal abuse arc has come back into the storyline, and she doesn't care. She doesn't care if her hamster lives or dies, and she's going to torture him. He could have a little heart attack, you know, for what she did. Screaming, screeching noises at him while she's pulling him out of his cage. That's disgusting. And holding Julia up to his cage. You are seriously trying to kill that hamster. It's disgusting. And I can understand why Are You Serious, who is currently practicing Ramadan, just can't be a part of that right now. I get it. Because that's terrifying. It's terrifying, and she's supposed to be connecting with God right now, Allah, and, you know, pushing those sorts of thoughts out of her head, and yet Chantel keeps pushing them out into the world. She keeps pushing out this negativity into the world. It's really gross, you guys.